Alright, everybody. I've finally done it. I have created exactly what I had first envisioned when I created the first version of the Railgun. And doing it came up with some really cool things, but I finally found the final product, which is my final proof of concept, and it is just so much fun. It is by far the best version that I've made yet. So let's get right to it. And I'm going to do this in survival mode to show the recoil, because it now has a recoil. So, and I can, yeah, I'll just show you. And it just goes. You throw the snowball wherever you want it to go. There's a recoil, and it will generally not inflict damage to you, but it can launch you and make you take fall damage, which can be probably pretty cool in my opinion. Now, I can shoot straight downward, can shoot straight up, can shoot literally any direction, exactly where I want it to go. Thought I was gonna die there. No, I should have given myself a pick. Or some blocks. Okay. Oh, I should turn off, turn on mob griefing. So that you can see the effects of it. Really destroying the land very nicely. It can launch you so far, which I'm about to demonstrate right now. So you can actually rocket jump with this. Let me show you that. Oh, that was a bad example. Now, you can't do a rocket jump like this. That doesn't work. And notice it did cause the railgun timer to start counting because it did summon it. It just didn't have enough time to teleport anything to the snowball before it got destroyed. Same again with that one. So you have to have a good little distance to jump off of to actually do a successful rocket jump. Ow. I am really failing here. Am I really failing this badly? Come on. Cool. And sometimes when the impact hits, it won't stop. It'll keep exploding where it landed, which is kind of cool. But the timer doesn't need to reach 58 to start over. It can hit and... That was a good example of a rocket jump. But it can hit something sooner and go off earlier. Come on. Oh, no, that was a good one. Yeah. And notice I can't even go into that. Now, if you get hit from the center, though, it should still kill you just the same. Oh. Alright. Let's see. 233 is snowball, I think. Nope. Oh, well. Alright, let's check out the, circuitry used here. I think I'm actually closer to... There it is. No, where is it? It's in this unloaded chunk right here. No. There it is. Okay. So, what's happening here... It's got my old clock still. This will turn it on when there's not a redstone block there to turn it off. So I'm just using the regular 1 tick, I think, clock by placing a redstone block, then changing it to air. Now, every time the redstone block gets placed, it will test for a wither skull and test for a snowball at the same time. When the wither skull is found, it will power the test for the snowball so that this won't ever keep testing for it. So one snowball makes one railgun. If there are 2 snowballs, only the first one caused it, and any other snowball while it's going will not do anything. So it waits until it reloads. Now, when it finds a snowball, it will summon a fireball with explosion power of 1 and no direction. It will summon a wither skull with no direction, and it will teleport the wither skull to the snowball and teleport the fireball to the snowball. However, this command block doesn't seem to work. Like, it doesn't seem to really do anything, but without it, it doesn't seem to make this thing work either. You also need to teleport the fireball to the snowball again after a redstone tick to make it actually interact with the snowball, so it'll take direction. So what's happening here, you'll throw the snowball and it will spawn a fireball right there so that the snowball hits it. The fireball then assumes the speed that the snowball had, the speed and direction. And now we have an entity in motion, and that's what I really wanted. I wanted to create an entity in a direction that was completely up to the user and not spawned that way. So now, when a wither skull is found, it will set the scoreboard of Railgun for the player to 0, and powering this powers this, but this is just a placeholder command block in case I needed something else. It will turn this off so that the clock is allowed to turn on. Same concept that this is using. Now, without this, that won't turn it back on. So that's kind of useful there. And so when this turns off, it doesn't necessarily turn this on, but it allows it to be turned on, which is what this command block does. And what will happen here, have the same redstone clock here, or command block clock, and it will summon a creeper with explosion radius of 5, fuse of 1, ignited 1, to give it the proper explosion and to explode immediately. Then it will teleport the creeper to the wither skull. This is important that it does this first. Teleports the creeper to the wither skull. Then it will teleport the wither skull to the fireball. The reason for this is so that the wither skull will not be at the same place as the creeper. It will actually be more in the direction you want to launch the wither skull. Remember, the wither skull was spawned with no direction. Right here, no direction. So as soon as the creeper explodes while it's inside of it, if it's inside of it, it won't move it either. But if you move that skull just slightly past it in whatever direction you want it to go, it will cause it to go that direction constantly. So the creeper isn't actually going to the same place as the wither skull. The wither skull is where the fireball was last tick, and then it gets updated to where it is in the new tick. And when it teleports the wither skull to the fireball, it's just going to kill the fireball because it no longer has a use. And it cleans things up, makes it run a little smoother. And whenever this clock is on, it's going to be turning this on, which will trigger these 3. But since it's such a fast clock, this will never turn on during the clock. It'll pretend like it's a full length just solid power instead of constant ticking. So whenever this lights up, it will kill all the Wither Skulls, just in case it hits something early. And it will also add 1 to the Railgun for the player. Then it will test for the Railgun minimum of at least 50 for the player. When it finds that, it kills the Wither Skull. And that's really everything you got to do to make anything launch a direction you want it. So you could also use this for like an RPG. Like, I've seen rocket launchers and stuff, sure. This is literally a rocket propelled grenade. You can cause an explosion to go off in front of the actual grenade and launch it to wherever you want it to go. I'm not sure its trajectory. I haven't really tested that yet, but in theory this will allow you to make an anvil launcher. You could do the same thing, but instead of the Wither Skull, replace it with the anvil, and don't make this a loop. Make this only trigger 1 time, and then test for falling sand, and as soon as the falling sand doesn't exist, you know that the anvil has landed. But unless you teleport like a Wither Skull along with it, you're not going to know where it landed. But you wouldn't need it for that. But it can be a rocket-propelled anvil, an RPA. So I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm just gonna go out playing with this. So thanks for watching. Some clean area. I just love that initial explosion. That gives you that nice little recoil. Oh yeah, that makes this whole thing just feel so... It lets you feel the power when you shoot it, you know? Like, instead of pulling back a bow and letting it go and it just goes, you actually feel like you're firing this weapon.